but it's all about making your money work for you versus you feeling like your money is the boss. And I love the EveryDollar app. Like I said, we've used it for years, and every time we use it consistently, we have wins with our money.
Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. This is the place where families who have or want to have a nomadic lifestyle come together to talk about the highs and lows that this life brings. We celebrate the joys and support each other in the hard. So, if you are a digital nomad family or will be in the future, this is the place for you. We're glad you're here.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. Marissa here. And as you might have seen from the title, this is a good episode. We are talking money and budgets and all the fun stuff. So if you have ever wondered anything about the financial status of our family, today is going to give you a really good insight about it. I am one of those people, talking about money does not freak me out. I will answer almost any question about money because I am just very open about it. I'm very not weird about it. And I think that comes from my religious beliefs. I am a Christian, and I fully believe that my money is not my money. It is God's money, and everything on this planet belongs to Him. And my husband and I have been given the responsibility and the privilege to take care of a certain amount of God's provision. And because of that, I just don't find any weirdness in it, because I'm just like, this is the portion that He has allocated to us. And so it's not based off of anything that we've done or our company's done. It's all to God, and it's just all from His hand. So because of that, it doesn't make me weird to talk about it, because I'm like, I think money is just a resource we have. And if we're not embarrassed to talk about what we spend our time on, we shouldn't be embarrassed to talk about what we spend our money on, because time and money are both resources we have in our life. If you're embarrassed to talk about either, then probably, in my experience, I don't want to, go too deep into this, but probably if you are embarrassed to talk about your time, what you spend your time or your money on, it's because you have something that you're genuinely embarrassed about. Like maybe you spend too much time on your phone, or you don't spend enough time on personal development, or you just feel some type of embarrassment. Or you're trying to live to other people's expectations of you. And because of that, you feel like, they think I should do this. And just let that go, man. Just let that go, because you need to live your life. And so if you get into money conversations with people and you start feeling like this pressure of what do they think about me, please let that go, because that's not what you want to hold on to in your life. That's not the attitude you want to have. So we're all just out here doing our best, and don't allow other people's, what you think their standard for you is, don't make that the actual standard for your life. Please, please, please. I've lived that way, and it's exhausting. So that really has nothing to do about money or anything like that, but kind of sort of does. And maybe that's why I'm not embarrassed or ashamed or anything to talk about it. So I have been considering doing an episode like this for a while, and I think now's a good time, because I feel like Eric and I have been living this digital nomad life long enough now. We've been, when this episode comes out, we will have been living this life for a solid 3 years. And because of that, I feel like we now have a handle on the financial side of it. So I feel, okay, I can talk about this. So before we jump into anything though, I need you to know I'm going to be talking about one specific app a bunch. Like, we're going to just walk through this one app, because it is the lifeblood. It is the major filing cabinet. It is the number one reason Eric and I have a hold on our finances the way we do. And it's called EveryDollar. It is from the Ramsey organization. Dave Ramsey's just this really big financial dude. You don't have to agree with what Dave Ramsey says to enjoy this app. Like, if you have an opinion about Dave Ramsey, I respect that. That's fine. But this app is amazing. And if you don't like Dave Ramsey, still get this app because it's so good. And we have been using this app now in our personal lives I should have figured out this number before. To say we've been using this app for 5, 6, 7, 8, around 8 years. Yeah, around 8 years is a very true statement. We love it. This is the only app on my phone that I pay for. Everything else on my phone is free. This app I pay for. It is a annual subscription. There is a link in the show notes that if you click on it, you'll save $10 on your first year's membership. And I would highly recommend paying for this app. And that's because when you get the free version of this app, it's a budget making app. And there's lots of budget making apps out there. This is not a new idea. It's a budget making app, but the thing that I love paying for the paid subscription is that you can link your bank account, like your debit card. You can link any credit cards. Then when you make a purchase from those things, that purchase automatically shows up in the EveryDollar app. I call the EveryDollar app the green app because it's green. And so if you ever hear me say the green app in this episode, that's what I'm talking about. It's EveryDollar. But I just call it the green app because it's green and I don't understand technology as I sit here making a podcast. I really don't. When people hear how I make my podcast, I have been laughed at by other podcasters, by other people in this like techie type industry. When they hear how I make my podcast, they have laughed because they're like, no way, that's how you do it. I'm like, yeah, because it's the most basic way for me to do it. And I need basic. And so if I can work the green app, anyone can work the green app. So with the annual membership, you will create your monthly budget. And what we're going to do is here in a little bit is we're going to work through Eric and I's monthly budget. But then anytime you make a purchase, it will show up in the green app and you will just you'll click on the purchase. So let's say you spent $100 at Walmart. You'll click on that purchase and you'll drag it to your groceries line item. And it's so easy and it keeps track of everything. I cannot emphasize enough how amazing EveryDollar is. And so if you get one thing out of this, if you listen to the rest of this and you're like, Marissa, how you and your family budget is ridiculous. I hate everything about it. That was a waste of my time. I hope that learning about EveryDollar will be a positive thing because it has drastically changed our financial life because it really helps us stick to our budget. We're able to plan for the future. And our money really does work in our favor. I can see, and this is why I love the name of the app, EveryDollar. I honestly can see where every dollar I spent has been spent. So then, and at first, when Eric and I first started this, it felt very overwhelming. When you go to make your budget, if you've never made a budget before, it feels so overwhelming. And you're like, I don't know how much we spend on gas. I don't know how much we spend on transportation. I don't know how much we spend on groceries or home goods or whatever. That's okay because just spend, it's $80 normally. If you click the link in the description, you get $10 off. So $70. And for the first 2 months, just track. You can put in rough numbers I think we spend $2,000 on groceries. But then just track it those first couple months. And by month 3, you're going to be so much better off. Going to make your budget will get easier and easier and easier every single time. And so don't get stressed out about, well, how do I make a budget? Just get the app and start tracking your expenses because that's going to tell you how much you actually spend. Then in a couple months, you can go, okay, now let's start working on this. If you have any debts, then you can say, oh, like if we want to make the minimum payment plus 20 extra dollars, maybe you look at the past 2 months and you see, oh, you know what? We go out to just random restaurants a lot while we're out and about. Maybe we stop in to Dunkin'. Maybe we go to Starbucks. Maybe we go to Chick-fil-A, or maybe we just grab some McDonald's. Let's maybe cut out those, like just random little treat grabs or something like that. And that would probably give us the $20. If we just cut out once a week, grabbing a coffee or a quick meal, if we just do that once a week, there's an additional $20 we're seeing. And it just helps so much. So I'm going to encourage you to get this app, because if you want to take charge of your finances, that's the first step, is actually understanding where your money is going, what it's being spent on. Because if you go to sit down and make a budget and you feel like you can't, that is a sign. There's no judgment or anything in the statement, but that's a sign that your money is the boss, you're not the boss. And a lot of people are there. We have been there, okay? Even at times where we get not as good at using EveryDollar, I feel like my money's the boss and I'm not the boss of my money. So get the app. I promise you're going to love it. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about in this episode is I'm going to share some of our expenses. I'm going to tell you how I get an estimate for the price of living, because this is what makes trying to budget as a nomad family very unique than a rooted family in the States. Because when we were in the United States and we were living in Norfolk, Virginia, I knew very accurately how much I was going to spend on groceries, how much I was going to spend on restaurants. I knew these things. Now as a traveling family, when I go from Mexico City to San Salvador, knowing, well, what are groceries like in San Salvador versus Mexico City, that's hard. And so making that next month's budget, knowing I'm going to be in not just a different city, but a different country, that can be hard sometimes. So we'll talk about getting an estimate of the price of living. We're going to talk about things that we plan and save for. And then I'm going to explain how EveryDollar helps me make sure that I'm staying on top of our money stuff and that I'm the boss of our money and it's not the boss of us. So when you get the EveryDollar app, and like I said, we're kind of just going to work down through this app. I have it open on my computer because I'm recording on my phone. But I want to let you guys know, I'm not sponsored by EveryDollar. Like, they have no idea I'm doing this episode. They have no idea who I am. But I will say, if you click on the link, Eric and I will save $10 on our membership. So it's like, you save $10, we've saved $10. So it's a win-win for both of us. So, but anyone can do that. Like, you will get $10 and then you'll have you could get like the link when you're in the app, either on your computer or on your phone, there's a little button that says share EveryDollar, and you could do that. So like, let's say you get the app and you absolutely love it and you want to tell all your siblings about it. Well, then you share it with them and then you'll save $10 on your next year's subscription. So it's not like an affiliate program that they have special for like me. It's anybody. Like you can do this. So that's just a little bit about the $10 thing. So in the EveryDollar app, the first thing you're going to want to do is there's a space for you to put how much you make, okay? So you'll add your income. As of right now, Eric and I bring home $7,000 a month. And that number surprises some people because I think a lot of people think that Eric and I are bringing in a lot more money than we are. We have a lot of friends here in Costa Rica who, because again, I will tell people I'm not embarrassed by this, when they found out that we are only bringing in $7,000 a month, they were really surprised. And you might hear the number 7,000 and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. Please keep in mind, we have 4 adolescent children. So all of our kids are definitely in the stage of life where they eat a lot. And Yeah, it's just we have 6 full-grown bodies and or growing bodies. Like we don't have toddlers anymore, and so when we get to things like food, you will be shocked at how much money we spend on food. So Eric and I bring in $7,000 a month, and we have talked and are like, you know, when you have those conversations with your spouse and you're like, what would be the dream number? And Eric and I's dream number is $2,000 per person living in our house, because that would give us the ability to be fast travelers and do all the fun stuff. So as of right now, we are slow travelers, meaning we stay at a place for almost as long as we can with that visa. So here in Costa Rica, we get 6 months, and the first time we came, we got 90 days, but then they've changed the laws here in Costa Rica, so now we get 180 days. And so we have left the country twice in order to extend our time here, because we do have a really great deal on our house here. And so it made sense to just try to stay here a little bit longer. But if we want to fast travel, if we want to go boom, 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 and we want to play the tourist, if we want to go to a city for 2 weeks and be able to go out to restaurants, not have to cook so much, do the tourist things, if we were bringing in $2,000 per person per month, then we would be able to do that. So that is our goal. That is Eric and I's financial goal. And I think it's good to have like a goal. I think it's good to have this is what we're working towards. And it's okay if it takes a while to get there. That's fine. Not a big deal. It's good to have goals. They push us. So currently we are at 7,000. So we're a little over halfway there. Woohoo. Because we have 6 people in our family right now, full-time living in our family. So that would be $12,000. So as kids leave the house, then we don't need to bring in $12,000 a month. So again, that's why we said $2,000 per person. So then that's the first thing you're going to want to do in the EveryDollar app. The next thing you will do is your giving. And this is something that the Ramsey organization talks a lot about. They say you have to give, you have to save, and you have to spend. Those are the 3. And I think everyone would agree with that. Even if you are not a Christian, the idea of giving is a really good idea. Because if you are only selfish with your money and think, how can this work for me? Then that shows in your lifestyle. And so even if you are not giving to a church or a Christian organization like we are, the idea of giving is a really good thing to do. So we have our tithe in there, and that fluctuates. For the longest time, Eric and I were what a lot of people call percentage, and I'm putting that in air quotes, percentage tithe givers, because it talks in the Old Testament about giving a 10% tithe. And then Jesus came onto the scene and things changed a little bit. And so Eric and I's theology has changed from a percentage giver to more of like an amount or like a grace giving, like, okay, how much can we give this month? And we do 2 things. We tithe to a local church, and we also, we tithe to either a local church that we are connected to. There is a ministry here, there's a youth group here that our kids attend, and we will give to that ministry as well. And there's churches around the world that we've now been connected with, and we've given to those. So our tithe goes to various different places. And then we also host a Girl Through Compassion International, and we consider that as a part of our tithe as well. So at the time of this recording, Eric and I tithe about $450 a month in our giving. So that's about how much we give, about $450 every month. And then the next item is savings. And this is where I want to talk about, as a full-time traveling family, don't skip this. It is critical to save. And the thing I love about EveryDollar, about the Green app, is you can type in as many items as you want. So I have 3 line items in our savings category here. And one of them is called savings to start saving, because Eric and I, for the longest time, have just been in a bad habit of not saving. And saving money is a habit and it's a skill that you have to learn. And so I just titled this one Saving to Start Saving. Like, that's it. Just to get us back into the habit of putting money into our long-term savings account. Then the next one I have is savings for tickets. And this is money where we need to save money every month in order so that when we go to buy our airline tickets or our train tickets for the next trip, we have it and we're not going to go into debt. So that's what I have. So right now we know that we're going to be flying to our next location. So I have savings for tickets because we're going to be flying. And then our third savings item is savings to, and then fill in the blank for an event you want to do. So Eric's parents are coming in August back down to Costa Rica. And we are going to want to do stuff with them. We're going to want to go out and have fun. And over on the Pacific side, there is something called the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica. And they have bioluminescent waters over there. And we want to do that with his family. And so I have savings to visit the bioluminescent waters. So every month, this is how much I know we need to put into savings for these three things. Now, we use PNC, and the thing I love about PNC is in our savings account, we can make savings goals. And so I have these same savings goals over in our PNC account, and I have an amount. So in our PNC account, I'll say like savings to start saving. Like, how much money do you just want in your general savings account? So let's say you just want $10,000. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number. You want $10,000 in your savings account. Well, that's fine. It's going to take us a while to get to $10,000, but hey, that's what I want, and that's okay. Then savings for tickets. Okay, well, how much do I need in order for my family to get airline tickets out of here? And then savings for the bioluminescent waters. Sorry, there's a huge truck going by outside, and the windows here are they're so thin. It's like the thinnest glass you'll ever see in your life. So anytime anything goes by, you'll hear it. And so then the last one is savings to visit the bioluminescent waters. And I've done the research. I have found out about how much we're going to need for that. And that's the goal that I have set up in PNC. So then as I put these deposits into my PNC account, they'll come through on the EveryDollar app, and I'll just drag them and drop them into those things. And then I'm able to see, okay, yeah, we did save. So right now for our savings to start savings, it's just $300. Just $300 a month put into savings. Savings for tickets is $900, and then savings to visit the bioluminescent water is $325. Also, when I say these numbers, it's per month. So this is a monthly thing. So I'm literally just reading you the numbers for our May 2024 budget. So that's savings. And I do think that something that does get overlooked a lot in the digital nomad community is savings, especially as a family. It is important, guys. And even if you're only putting a couple $100s into savings, that is going to set you up for success. Because I understand this pressure of, right, but we want to do all these things. We want to go to all these places. We want to, we have the money, so we might as well spend the money. I'm not saying don't have fun in the country you're in, but if you're not saving any money every month, I would encourage you to really look at your budget and even just try to find $100 to $200 you can start putting into savings, because worst case situations do happen. And if you have just a little bit of money in savings, it will take a huge crisis from crazy stressful to a little less stressful. So an example for this is when Eric and I got stuck. We missed our flight. It was our fault. We were 20 minutes late. We were flying a budget airline. It wasn't the airline's fault. I'm not mad at anybody. We were late. We were 20 minutes late. But because of the fact it was a budget airline flying from France to New York. I don't remember where we were flying to in the States. I think it was New York, but don't hold me to that. But we were definitely flying out of Paris. And we were 20 minutes late. And because it was a budget airline, they used the same people at the front counter as in the back counters. And since we were a few minutes late, 20 minutes. since we were late, they had already shut down the front counter so that the people could go and work in the back. And so we missed our flight. But because of the fact that we had been putting money into savings, what went from, oh my gosh, this is a total disaster, became a, hey, you know what? We'll figure it out. And we actually tacked on a little Paris and London trip to that vacation. Well, not vacation, to that trip. It kind of, Paris and London became a vacation. But because of the fact that we had money in savings, it wasn't such a big, scary thing. And so I'm going to encourage you, definitely put money into savings. Okay, now the next section in the EveryDollar app is just called housing. And the thing I really like about this app is you can customize all these line items. So when I read through what I have written down, you can change it. Like it's fine. And so for housing, we have rent, mobile phone, Apple storage, because we pay for Apple storage, Disney Plus, because we have Disney Plus, our electric bill, our water bill, Libsyn, which is a thing connected to the podcast, HBO Max. Those are the things that are consistent in every country we go to, no matter what. Now, sometimes, especially if we're staying in an Airbnb, I will change electric and water to 0 because that's going to be included in my rent. But I still leave them there because sometimes we have to pay those bills and sometimes we don't. So our expenses here in Costa Rica are rent, $1,000. We have an amazing, amazing deal with our rent because it's through the school, and that's amazing. Usually when we're going Airbnb, I put that up around $2,000. So that's kind of like, if you're wondering what we do for Airbnb, anywhere from $2,000 to $2,400, because we have 6 people. So we need a little bit of a larger space. And so but that'll be everything usually with the Airbnb. And here we're paying $1,000, and then we have utilities. So $1,000 for rent. Our mobile phone bill here is $48. One day maybe I'll do a podcast episode just about our phones and how we manage our phones, but that's not this episode. So we have Costa Rican SIM cards, and so it's $48 a month. We pay for additional Apple storage. It's around $4 a month. Disney Plus is around $15 a month. I love Disney Plus. It is, if you've ever listened to my 5 favorite apps episode, I love Disney Plus because one, I do like Disney movies, especially the older ones, like the 90s Disney movies, so fantastic. But also it has Hulu, which Hulu can kind of be a butthead sometimes with a VPN. So just be aware of that. We're in a phase right now with Hulu where it's being a little cantankerous with us. And it's like, we see you're using a VPN, and it doesn't like that. Usually we can make it work, but not always. So hopefully we get out of this phase soon and we can get our Hulu back to working. Lots of times if we disconnect from the VPN, restart our Fire Stick, and then reconnect to a different VPN, it'll work. So we just need to do that. But I love National Geographic as well. Like for the kids, there are so many great educational shows on there, from science to history to geography. Nat Geo is wonderful. So we have Disney Plus. Here, our electric bill is about $145 a month, and our water bill is about $60 a month. So we have to pay our landlord those things. Libsyn, which is again connected to the podcast, is $7 a month. Not bad. And then HBO Max is about $16 a month. So those are the things that I know we're going to have those no matter where we go. And that's, again, in the housing. And you can add anything to this you want. Like if you, when we were in the States, we had our housing. Well, not in this section because there's another section for insurance. But we had like renter's insurance. Now we don't have renter's insurance. But there's line items that you can add anything. In the housing, I have some additional things that will change when we leave Costa Rica. And that's okay, because that's what I love about this app is you can adjust it to every single month. So in May, there are 3 things that will not always be there. One of them is our Prime membership. So we still keep up with our Amazon Prime membership for 2 reasons. One, the Amazon photo storage. Amazing. We also pay for additional, an extra terabyte, I think, of video storage, which is like when I said Apple storage up above, that's what that is. So we have our Amazon Prime membership is up for renewal. And so I like it for the photos. And there's a lot on Amazon Prime videos that we really like to watch. So for those 2 reasons, we do keep our Amazon Prime membership, even though we don't use it for shipping anymore. But it still has perks. So that is being renewed in the month of May, and it's $140. I am in school here in Costa Rica, learning Spanish, and my school cost for this trimester is about $320 because I'm only taking 1 class. It was like in the 700s before. It's definitely an investment to learn a new skill. And I have no regrets about it, but it's definitely been a lot for our finances. And then also here we have a cook. We have it's called an empleada, an employee here in Costa Rica. And she comes Monday through Friday. And we pay her about $50 every week. So we pay her on Fridays. And since May happens to have 5 Fridays, it's a little bit higher. It's about $325 for this month. But it's about $50 a week. So I just look at how many weeks it is and go from there. And so that's everything in our housing. Now, some people, if you had a security camera or like a security system that you were paying for, that would be in this. If you're paying for lawn care, that would be in this because that's the type of housing. Anything that is connected to your house would be in this line item. And you can add as many items as you want. So, like I said, I have Prime membership in here. This month I added that, but I won't have it in June. So it really helps you to look and see like what expenses do we have this month? What do we have next month? And it really does help you. The next category that the Green app suggests is transportation. When we were in the States, we had gas, we had oil changes, we had savings, or not like savings, but state inspections. And we had anything that came up with the car. Like I think sometimes, especially in like the spring and the fall, we would put like car washes in there because in Virginia we didn't have a garage, and so our car was sitting outside all the time, and we would want to go wash it. So that's what we had in the States, and then we had each of those things. We would have what is how much are we going to pay for gas this month? Did we have to do an oil change this month? All these things. And those are all gone for us now because we don't own a car. So we just have Uber/public transportation. We don't use public transportation here in Costa Rica because the busing system is even confusing for locals. So we don't use it. We just use Uber. So I budget $120 for Uber. We usually don't use that much, but I budget it anyways because I'd rather come under a little bit than feel like we're getting to the end of the month, but we don't have enough money to go anywhere. So I'd rather put a little bit more. And Uber's not cheap here. Like in order for me just to go to Walmart, it's almost a $10 trip. So just going to, and I need to go like to Walmart, and there's another store. It's kind of like Costco here. It's called Price Mart. And just to go to those stores, I'm looking at about $10. And so it's important that we have money for Uber. Then we have groceries. Now, the Green app, EveryDollar, it's a category labeled food. So there's like groceries, there's restaurants. You could do, if you want to see how much you spend just in Starbucks or Dunkin', you could have like a coffee line item. Doesn't matter. If you want to go on a weekly date with your spouse, you could put that in here. Like date night, that's fine. We just do groceries because I figure it's food. Whether we're ordering it via Uber Eats, whether we're going out to eat at a restaurant, or whether I'm buying it at Price Mart and bringing it back and cooking it, it's all food to feed my family. So we used to especially when we were first starting out, we did break this down into groceries, into restaurants, into date nights, because we needed to, and that was fine. Now we're to the point where I just go, hey, you know what? I know about how much we spend on food here in Costa Rica, and I'm very confident just to go have it all in one line item. And then if we want to go out to eat, I'll pull up the Green app, and I look at it and I say, oh yeah, we have enough, or no, we don't, we need to eat at the house. And there we go. That is an example of me being in charge of my money and not my money being in charge of me. So I would suggest at the beginning, breaking it down, especially if you are not sure how much you spend on groceries versus restaurants versus those random coffee breaks. I would break it down, because the more you understand how much you spend on each thing, the better you're going to be in the long run. So just do that. So we spend about $2,400 on groceries. Now, it is possible for me to come under on that, a little bit closer to $2,200, and that's fantastic, because that gives me a couple more $100 to put into savings. It's never going to hurt you to put money into savings. Never. You're never going to regret doing that. There's this quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's something like, future you will never regret the sacrifices and the hard work that right now you did. And that's how I view savings. Future Marissa, future Eric, future the 4 kids will never regret putting money into savings, because that's going to allow us to do a lot more exciting things later. So that is our grocery. And I do try my best to bring it under a little bit, at the same time remembering that sometimes it is nice to grab a pizza somewhere, or Kentucky Fried Chicken, or to go out to eat at a restaurant. So that is how we handle groceries. And again, that's in the food category on the EveryDollar app. The next suggested category is lifestyle. And these are just the things that you do while you're living. So some of the categories that we have is clothing, haircuts, ATM fees, books, Weight Watchers, which that was a mistake, but oh well. And then this month it's Stoyanka's birthday. So we put Stoyanka's birthday into lifestyle. Lifestyle is anything that you are thinking, I need this to live life. Like if you want to get a new thing, if you want to get more clothes, if you need to get shoes, if you need to go to the doctor, if you need to get a new pair of glasses, that's what I put it in lifestyle. You could put it anywhere you want. It doesn't matter as long as you're tracking it. But that's how we use this lifestyle category. And I'll go through, of course, and tell you how much we spend on each thing. The thing I really like about the EveryDollar app and the way our PNC accounts work together is I can have, like I said, I can have savings goals in my PNC bank accounts. I know a lot of bank accounts do this. I'm not saying that PNC is the only one. Like I'm not trying to convince you to switch over to PNC. I'm actually really annoyed with PNC's ATM fees, which we'll get to in a minute here because it's in this lifestyle. But we are working on a way to try to lower our ATM fees. But I do like the savings goals, and so that has been a big part of finding a new bank, that I want to make sure our new bank has savings goals. Because things like clothing, maybe this month you don't want to buy any clothing. Maybe you're like, I'm good. Everyone's good. No one needs shoes. No one needs any clothes. The kids are set. That's awesome. That's great. We budget $75 in clothing every month. If we use it, that's fine. If we don't, I transfer money over to savings, and then I transfer that $75 or whatever is remaining, right? Like let's say we spend $25 and there's still $50 left. I'll transfer 50 overs to our clothing savings goal in the PNC account. And then when that transfer comes through on the Green app, I just put that in the clothing line items. So it looks like we've saved it looks like we've used all 75. But that gives us a little buffer. So then if one of the kids does need something really fast, or if for some reason you just really want to go on a shopping spree, we can look in our PNC app and we can say, hey, we have $250 in there. That's awesome. Let's go shopping. And so that's what we do for clothing. We budget $75 a month per clothing. We do a similar thing with haircuts. So my hair is very expensive. And so even if we don't get our haircuts that month, we budget $20. And again, if people get haircuts, that's great. If not, okay. We then will transfer it over to the haircut savings goal. And then that way, when I need my haircut, we can just take some money out of the PNC account, just out of savings, because it can be anywhere from $100 to $250 at a time for me to get my hair fixed because I have dreadlocks. But I only do it every 3 to 4 months. And so we just slowly put that in there so then there's less to transfer when I do it. So that's really, I do like to do that. Then that brings us to ATM fees. And this is my most loathed line item ever. We budget $50 a month for ATM fees. And that's ridiculous. And if we don't go over on that, it's a miracle because the ATM fees here in Costa Rica are ridiculous. And we have Costa Rican side fees and we have our PNC side fees. And at the time of this recording, PNC only reimburses the first 2 ATM fees, which is $10. So I get $10 back, but that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket compared to how much we actually spend in ATM fees. So we are looking into better banks. If you have any suggestions, shoot me an email. The link is in the description because I would love to hear what you do for ATM fees so that we don't have to spend $50 a month on ATM fees. Our next line item is books, and this is books for the kids. So every month the kids have to pick a book and read a new book, and we budget about $40 because there's 4 kids, and usually ebooks are around $10. So we budget about $40 every month to get the kids a new ebook. At the moment, we have to budget $10 for Weight Watchers. Did you hear that car out there? So noisy. That happens all the night long, too. The windows here, man, they are not helpful. So we budget $10 a month for Weight Watchers, and this will happen until August because Eric signed up for it and didn't realize that it was like a 6-month commitment. So yeah, so we pay for that, but we're currently not using it. Oh well, it's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, right? But I still budget it because I know it's going to come out of my account. So I might as well. And then this month is Stoyanka's birthday. And we are not huge. I mean, we celebrate our kids' birthdays. Like they get to pick their dinner and we have our little traditions. But we're not huge birthday gift givers. And so we try to find a thing that they want to do or an event or something like this. And we do that. So Stoyanka this year wants to get her hair done. She wants to get it like colored, like not like highlights or anything. I mean, yes, highlights, but colored, like blue or red or green or something fun like that. So that is what she's doing. And so we have budgeted $100 for her to get her hair done. That ends lifestyle. So we only have one more category in our budgeting line item, and that is insurance. Eric and I both have insurance. We have life insurance, and mine is about $25 and his is about $125 a month because we have a lot of money on him and not a lot on me. And he's older and all the things. So his obviously costs more. And so as you can see, we don't have health insurance. Now, this is something Eric and I have talked about a lot. Do we want to get health insurance? Do we want to get nomad insurance? Do we want to do these things? And we have very mixed emotions about it, mixed opinions about it, because at this time in our lives, every emergency that has come up, we've been able to self-fund from savings because we are putting money into savings every month. And so those emergencies don't feel quite like an emergency anymore. And also healthcare in this part of the world is very cheap and it's good. Like I have not been dissatisfied with any of the things. So at the moment, I think probably at least until 2025, we will not have insurance. We will just be self-funded for medical things. We do have in the United States, but it's free. We do have catastrophic insurance, meaning like if a kid breaks a leg at the park, that insurance will help. But again, that's free through a program in the States. So like it's not in our budget. But at the time of this recording, we don't have any type of traveler's insurance or anything like that because we have been able to self-fund things. Like when we were in El Salvador, Riley woke up and she came out and the left side of her face was so swollen, I had no idea what was going on. And so thankfully we were right up the road from like the best emergency room in the city. And so her and I just walked down there. Turns out she had mumps. Yes, my kids have had the MMR vaccine, but I got to discover that mumps is different in different parts of the country. So just because she was vaccinated as a baby for the mumps in the United States doesn't mean she was clear for the mumps in El Salvador. So her and Ryan both got mumps. And so we had to do medicines and all this kind of stuff. And so I took her to the emergency room in El Salvador. And a good emergency room, like fantastic. They did blood work and it was very professional. It wasn't sketch at all. It felt like you were in an emergency room in the United States, except people were speaking Spanish. And they did blood work and they did an ultrasound on her cheek just to make sure that there wasn't anything in her cheek, just make sure. And so the the blood work and the ultrasound both confirmed the presence of mumps. And I didn't even consider, because when your kid, wakes up like that, all you're concerned about is figuring out what's going on. So the cost of it didn't even hit me until I walked up to the cash register to pay, because that's how it works in El Salvador. It works like that in a lot of places. You just go in, and then they present you with a bill on your way out. And so, I said a prayer. I remember very specifically praying, like, hey, Jesus, I know that you love Riley, and I know that you know our financial situation right now, so please keep this at a manageable amount because, she got blood work, she got an ultrasound, there's going to be the admittance fee, there's going to be the room fee, there's going to be all these things. And I'm only comparing this to an experience of going to the ER in the United States, which could be up to thousands of dollars, right? And so I'm just like, okay, Jesus, I'm trusting you. We walk up, and he goes, okay, here's your bill, Miss Stingler. And it was $96 for everything. Now, because of the catastrophic insurance we could have tried to submit it and get a little reimbursed, but I wasn't even worried about it. I was like, no, that's fine. We have that. We're just going to pay it and be done because I don't want to worry about the paperwork. So this is what I say. If you're not saving right now, please start saving. If you feel like you're not in a place to start saving, then I would still tell you, get the EveryDollar app and start figuring out where your money is going. Because if you don't know where your money is going, then you're going to feel like, well, we can't save. But if you just, for a couple months, track your expenses and say, oh, you know what? We could eliminate this. We could eliminate this. We could eliminate this. You might be able to find $100 that you had no idea you could actually put either in savings or towards a debt. There is a space in the EveryDollar line items where it says debt. Eric and I, by the grace of God, have no debt anymore. We do have credit cards, but we pay them off every single month. And we don't own a car. We don't own a house. So Eric and I don't have debts. So we have that line item is blank. And so that is just not a little bit. That's everything. That's 100%. Again, like I am not embarrassed to talk about, like I don't feel any emotion talking about money. That is everything with our finances. Like I said, we do have a goal to get up to about $2,000 per person per month. So if for whatever reason, when Martin is 18 here, he'll be 18 next year. We still have a full more year with him. Thank you, God. But if he chooses to leave at 18, well, now there's only 5 of us. So that's 10,000. So I do think it's good to have these ideas and to just know what your money is doing and to have plans, especially as a traveling family, because we know we're going to have expenses come up like buying airline tickets, having to maybe replace a bag, which if you want a nice bag, it's not cheap. We know these things are probably coming, so let's plan for them and put some money into savings. So then that way it's an enjoyable experience. I think all of us have been in a situation where like we're at a restaurant or something and we're really glad to be there, but we also feel this like tension in our chest or like this pit in our stomach because we also know it's expensive and we're trying to do the mental math of like, oh man, how much is this going to set me back? But if you have a healthy amount in savings, those things go away. Or if you know, hey, I just looked at our account. I just looked at the EveryDollar app, and it tells me we only have $75 left for groceries this month. So no, we're not going to order pizza tonight. We're going to make some grilled cheese sandwiches and pop some popcorn or just whatever, right? And that's okay. Like that is fine. But it's all about making your money work for you versus you feeling like your money is the boss. And I love the EveryDollar app. Like I said, we've used it for years, and every time we use it consistently, we have wins with our money. And so I love it. It gives me a feeling of confidence, and it makes the fear go away from our budgeting. So I cannot recommend it enough. So like I said, there's a link in the description in the podcast show notes down there. And just click on it. You'll save $10. Eric and I will save $10, and it's worth it. It is the only app I pay for on my phone, and I will always tell people it's worth it all the time. So with all of that, I know that this was a longer episode, so thank you for sticking around. I really tried to kind of plow through, but some of the stuff I just needed to talk about a little bit in detail because I think that this is important. I hope that this has shown you that it is possible to be in control of your money as a full-time traveling family. And not only can you be in control of it, but you can feel a sense of peace, which I think is what we all are looking for when it comes to our finances, is to just feel a sense of peace. So I hope that this episode helped you. I hope it answered any questions you might have. And yeah, if you have any questions specifically about finances, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer them about how we plan for things, how we do things. Just shoot me an email. Again, the link is down there in the show notes. So I hope that you guys are well. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope that you continue to travel joyfully.